Are you ready to dive into the dark side of MMA? Mixed martial arts, MMA, is one of the fastest-growing sports in the world, with the UFC leading the charge as the premier organization. But behind the glory, knockouts, and championship belts lies a darker side of the sport. One riddled with controversies and scandals that have left fans shocked and fighters disgraced. From doping violations to shocking betrayals, the MMA world has seen it all. But which scandals made the biggest impact on the sport's history? Before we dive into these jaw-dropping stories, hit the subscribe button, give our video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our content. The Jon Jones Saga, a legacy tarnished? When it comes to MMA scandals, few names come up as frequently as Jon Bones Jones. Widely regarded as one of the greatest fighters in UFC history, Jones' career has been marred by legal troubles, failed drug tests, and out-of-cage controversies. But here's the question: how can someone so talented fall so far from grace? Jones' troubles began in 2012 with a DUI arrest, but things spiraled out of control after a hit-and-run incident in 2015 that left a pregnant woman injured. Following the incident, Jones was stripped of his UFC title. If that wasn't enough, he failed multiple drug tests, testing positive for banned substances like steroids and cocaine. Despite his repeated offenses, Jones continued to get opportunities to fight, raising questions about UFC's handling of star athletes. Was the organization too lenient because of his drawing power? Or did Jones truly deserve all those second chances? Conor McGregor's bus attack, hype or horror? Conor McGregor is no stranger to controversy, but his infamous bus attack ahead of UFC 223 in April 2018 remains one of the most talked about scandals in MMA history. The event not only shocked fans, but also set a new standard for chaos in the sport, further cementing McGregor's reputation as MMA's most polarizing figure. But what drove the biggest star in MMA to such a shocking act of violence? Was it an unbridled display of emotion, or was there a deeper strategic intent behind his actions? It all started with a feud between McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. When Khabib confronted McGregor's teammate Artem Lobov, McGregor flew to New York with an entourage to confront Khabib. The result? McGregor hurled a dolly through a bus window, injuring several fighters, including Michael Chiesa and Ray Borg, who had to withdraw from their fights. The physical injuries caused by the incident were severe, disrupting UFC 223 and leaving Dana White scrambling to manage the fallout. The incident led to McGregor's arrest and a flurry of legal troubles. While the attack was initially condemned, it also generated massive hype for the McGregor vs. Khabib fight, which became one of the highest-grossing events in UFC history. Fans were left questioning whether McGregor's actions were purely emotional or if they were part of a calculated strategy to amplify the rivalry and ensure record-breaking pay-per-view sales. Was the bus attack a calculated publicity stunt, or did McGregor's emotions get the better of him? Regardless of the motive, it remains a defining moment in MMA history, blurring the lines between spectacle and sport. The Anderson Silva doping scandal, the fall of a legend. Anderson Silva was once considered the greatest MMA fighter of all time. His reign as UFC middleweight champion was legendary, but his reputation took a significant hit when he tested positive for banned substances in 2015. But here's the twist: why would a fighter of Silva's caliber need to resort to performance-enhancing drugs? Silva tested positive for anabolic steroids before and after his fight against Nick Diaz at UFC 183. While Silva claimed the positive test was due to tainted sexual enhancement drugs, the damage to his legacy was done. Fans and analysts alike questioned whether Silva's dominance was fueled by more than just natural talent. Despite the scandal, Silva continued to fight, but his aura of invincibility was gone. Was this a case of a fighter desperately trying to hold on to his prime, or was there more to the story? The Khabib vs. McGregor brawl. Beyond the cage. The rivalry between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor was one of the most heated in MMA history, but no one expected the chaos that unfolded after their fight at UFC 229. But what caused one of the most disciplined fighters in MMA to lose control? After defeating McGregor via submission, Khabib jumped out of the octagon and attacked McGregor's teammate Dylan Dennis. Chaos erupted as both teams clashed, leading to multiple suspensions and fines. The brawl was a dark moment for the sport, overshadowing what should have been a celebration of Khabib's victory. Critics argued that the UFC's promotion of the fight, which heavily focused on personal insults and cultural tensions, contributed to the melee. Did the UFC cross the line in promoting the feud, or was this simply the result of two fiery personalities clashing? The Chael Sonnen steroid controversy. The king of trash talk falls. Chael Sonnen is known for his brash persona and legendary trash-talking skills, but his career took a major hit when he failed multiple drug tests. But here's the kicker. Sonnen admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs to gain an edge. Sonnen tested positive for a variety of banned substances, including HGH and EPO. While his honesty about his use of PEDs was somewhat refreshing, it didn't excuse his actions. Sonnen received multiple suspensions and eventually retired from the sport. Did Sonnen's openness about his drug use help or hurt his legacy? The TJ Dillashaw EPO scandal. A champion disgraced. TJ Dillashaw was riding high as a two-time UFC bantamweight champion when he was caught using EPO, a powerful performance-enhancing drug. But what drove a champion to cheat? Dillashaw's positive test came after his attempt to drop down to flyweight to challenge then-champion Henry Cejudo. The scandal led to Dillashaw being stripped of his title and receiving a 2-year suspension. Fans were shocked, especially given Dillashaw's clean-cut image. The scandal raised questions about how widespread PED use might be in MMA. Was Dillashaw an isolated case, or was he simply the one who got caught? The Fallon Fox controversy. Ethics in MMA. Fallon Fox, the first openly transgender MMA fighter, sparked one of the biggest debates in the sport's history. But here's the question. Should transgender fighters be allowed to compete in the women's division? Fox's participation in women's MMA was met with both support and backlash. Critics argued that Fox's physical advantages gave her an unfair edge, while supporters saw her inclusion as a step toward equality in sports. The controversy continues to divide fans and fighters alike. Where should the line be drawn between inclusivity and fairness in combat sports? The James Krause betting scandal. Integrity on the line. In one of the most recent scandals to rock the MMA world, former UFC fighter James Krause was implicated in a betting controversy. But what happens when a coach is accused of influencing fights for financial gain? Krause was allegedly involved in betting on fights he coached, leading to an investigation by the UFC and regulatory bodies. The scandal led to stricter betting policies in the UFC and raised concerns about the integrity of the sport. Was this an isolated incident, or is MMA at risk of becoming tainted by gambling controversies? The fighter pay debate. A scandal in itself. While not a traditional scandal, the issue of fighter pay has been a persistent controversy in MMA. Many fighters, including stars like George Masvidal and Francis Ngannou, have publicly criticized the UFC for its pay structure. But here's the burning question. Is the UFC exploiting its fighters? Unlike other major sports organizations, the UFC does not have a collective bargaining agreement, leaving fighters with limited negotiating power. The debate over fair compensation continues to be a hot topic, with some fighters choosing to leave the UFC for more lucrative opportunities elsewhere. Will we see a fighters' union in the future, or will the UFC continue to dominate the narrative? So what do you think? Which of these scandals shocked you the most? Did any of them change the way you viewed MMA? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more eye-opening stories and insights.